Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect, and this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. In this episode of the Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about Trudeau's resignation and resigning his position in Canada. Exciting day the other day, and a lot of people were cheering in the streets. Cheering.
That I'm sharing
kind of like I'm going to show you here right now.
That I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister.
All right. Before we get into what's going on with Trudeau and what he said the other day, I have a couple of sponsors. First sponsor is Love My Legs, Owen Sound, Grey Bruce. Head on over to their website on Facebook. Check out all the leggings that they have to offer. All kinds of them. You'd be surprised. Anyway, I also like to have our second sponsor is Heshirtssheshirts Plus. Click on their link below. Head on over to their website as well as their Facebook page. Check out all the things they have to offer. They are more than just a clothing company, another t-shirt company. They have all kinds of clothing, as well as the plus stands for laser. They do all kinds of laser items as well. Go and check them out. We will be pleasantly surprised what they have to offer. Check them out. Two more sponsors I always like, not sponsors, but items I like to throw on. They're Amazon items. I always like to throw on, of course, my podcast mic. I've used this for a couple of years now. Head on over to Amazon and grab yours. These things are fantastic. They're a great sound, easy to hook up, especially with the RODECaster Pro 2 that I use as well. So those two items work hand in hand. Don't really have to do a lot to them. Just plug and play and do a couple of adjustments. Nothing crazy. And you're away to the races for your blogs or your podcasts. All right, so let's get into what happened the other day when Trudeau resigned. Yay! All right, here we go. So this is basically what Trudeau said when he resigned. And I may or may not talk as he speaks. I may or may not. See what happens, but hear what he had to say.
Well, no, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians. I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is,
the last 9 years, almost 10, he has sold us down the river time and time again and has more scandals than any other prime minister and has spent more money than all the other prime ministers combined since Sir John A. Macdonald. Let that sink in. Here we go.
despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Best news I heard all week. Pretty much the best news I've heard all week. I was so excited. Now, you probably heard him say the word prorogued there. So prorogued You might ask yourself, what is it? Well, prorogation is it's part of Parliament results in the termination of a session. Parliament then it stands prorogued until the opening of the next session. Now, he said it's going to be till March. Basically, the summoning of dissolution of Parliament, prorogation is a prerogative act of the Crown, taken on the advice of the Prime Minister. Of course, he requests it, and the Crown, the Governor General or the Deputy Governor General in the Senate chamber, or by proclamation published in the Canadian Gazette when Parliament stands prorogued to a certain day. A subsequent proclamation or proclamations may be issued to advance or defer the date. Now, the effects of the prorogation, the principal effects of ending a session of prorogation is to terminate business. Members are released from their parliamentary duties until Parliament is next summoned. All unfinished business is dropped from or dies on the order. All the papers, committees lose their power to transact business, providing a fresh start for the next session. So basically that, in a nutshell, they're trying to pass a hate bill, and that hate bill gets dropped in the Senate. No more hate, the hate speech bill. It's done, because all bills that were in the workings are gone. All the ones that went to the Senate are gone. They have to start from scratch and start all over again. So the hate speech bill, in case you hadn't heard about it, there was a hate speech bill here in Canada that if you were to even think, if they think you're going to say something hateful in the future, you'll be able to be charged. I know, I'm not making this shit up, everyone. This is a fact. And this is part of that hate speech bill. So after Justin, of course, did his resignation, this hour has 22 minutes. They did a spoof on it. This hour has 22 minutes is actually a CBC program, which surprises me because CBC is funded by taxpayers. And, of course, in turn, the Liberals pay them. But this is quite funny. Here we go.
Oh, shoot, my papers. Oh, my papiers. It's okay. I'll deliver this speech off the dome. Hello, my friends. Bonjour, mes amis. As you all know, I am a fighter, which is why I'm quitting. I will be stepping down. Just in is now just out. I didn't come to this decision lightly, or even willingly. I thought I was doing a great job, but by the 6th internal resignation, I got an idea all on my own. Leave them wanting more. We had a good run, didn't we? From sunny ways to me. I know this will be devastating news to 17% of you. But to the rest, I say, have fun with Pierre. Wait until you see him grow a beard. It'll be wispy. Did I achieve everything I wanted? No. But you can't say I wasn't trying. I was very trying. Let's not forget my accomplishments. I invented feminism. I'm sure there's more. But, I made weed legal. So now I must puff, pass on the leadership. Don't worry about me. I have lots to do. I might start working on that book I've been meaning to read. As for career options, well, Swiss chalets don't manage themselves.
Yeah, Swiss chalets don't manage themselves. Yeah, I wouldn't let that guy operate a hot dog stand because of how far he's put this country in the hole. Poor management all around. All right, so here's what Pierre Poilievre had to say on Trudeau packing it in.
Canadians desperate to turn the page on this dark chapter in our history might be relieved today that Justin Trudeau is finally leaving. But what has really changed? Every Liberal MP in power today and every potential Liberal leadership contender fighting for the top job helped Justin Trudeau break the country over the last 9 years. All Liberal politicians actively worked to pass into law the job-killing inflationary carbon tax. a tax that Carbon Tax Carney endorsed in his book. All supported a law quadrupling the tax over the next 5 years. All voted for or actively supported Trudeau's out-of-control spending, debt, and immigration. All passed Trudeau's housing policies that doubled the cost of homes. All Liberal politicians helped pass catch-and-release bail and house arrest for the most rampant reoffenders. Policies that increased violent crime 50%, gun crime 116%, and hate crime by 250%. So given that Liberal MPs and leadership contenders unanimously supported everything Trudeau has done, why dump him now, right before an election? Have they had a change of heart? Is it because they feel guilty that they doubled housing costs, hiked taxes, unleashed crime, broke immigration, forced a quarter of the population into poverty? No. They continued supporting Trudeau when he did all of those things. No, their only objection is that he is no longer popular enough to win an election and keep them in power. They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control, and now the government is out of control. This cannot go on. We need a carbon tax election now to choose between the NDP Liberal costly coalition that taxes your food, punishes your work, doubles your housing costs, and unleashes crime and drugs in your community, or common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Canadians can take back control of their lives and their country. Take back control of our border, take back control of immigration, take back control of spending, deficits, and inflation. Take back control of our streets by locking up criminals, banning drugs, treating addiction, and stopping gun smugglers. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold family, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and put Canada first. All with one mission: to bring home Canada's promise that every hardworking Canadian gets a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food and homes on safe streets where all are united for the country we know and love. Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home.
Canada first, Canada first, Canada always. Pierre Poilievre. All right, now let's hear from the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh. See what he has to say. Keep in mind, everything he says here, he had the opportunity to vote with the PCs and vote the Liberals out of power via non-confidence. So listen to his words.
Justin Trudeau's Liberals have let down Canadians. They have let you down when it comes to the cost of homes. He's let you down when it comes to the cost of living. And frankly, it's not just Justin Trudeau. It's every Liberal minister, every Liberal MP who looked down their nose at you when people were saying we can't make ends meet. We are struggling with the cost of living. So it doesn't matter who the next Liberal leader is. They've let you down. They do not deserve another chance. They're more interested in themselves than the struggles of Canadians. We've got serious threats of Donald Trump and tariffs that put in question hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs. And instead of focusing on you and protecting your jobs, they're worried about themselves.
Yeah, so with that being said, here's what Pierre Poilievre had to say on the Jordan Peterson interview just the other day, which drove a lot of Liberals crazy. Anyway, here's what he had to say.
Let's first of all shed a brief tear for Jagmeet Singh, because the problem he has is that he's trying to be an NDP leader, and we already have an NDP prime minister. I mean, Justin Trudeau is he's actually much more radical than the traditional NDP.
As the NDP themselves admit, the
Yes.
previous leaders of the NDP.
Yes, he attacked the NDP Trudeau attacked the NDP for being too conservative.
Yep.
But because he had the comfortable blanket of the Liberal Party, which governed for most of the last century, people didn't realize what kind of radical they were dealing with.
Yeah.
The second problem Jagmeet Singh has is that all of his political ideology is implemented now. So,
Yeah, right.
And we're seeing it. Like, people look around and say, okay, this is what it looks like. The utopia the NDP has been spinning in the corner of Parliament. They told us everything was going to be free and wonderful and just, and there would be
Racial equity.
there would be there would be unicorns and butterflies and rainbows, and this would be the utopia. Well, now that all of
We
their
have got
policy
quite a few
agenda,
rainbows, though,
well,
truth be told.
all of their agenda is implemented, and people look around and it's a hellscape. We have 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario, 35 in Halifax. We have hate crimes are up 253% in the last 9 years. The military is decimated. Wages are dropping. Like, it's the list goes on. And so Jagmeet Singh is trying to disown that ideology, even though that it belongs to him. And he's trying to unsuccessfully to convince people that he's somehow different than that, when in fact Trudeau has only been doing what Singh would have done in his place. And so it is a classic for socialists. What they try to do is change their names and move on and try to have everyone forget their past. And when I say that socialists changed their names, I mean, they were communists, and then they became socialist, and then they became social democrats, and then they stole the word liberal, and then they ruined that word, so they changed their name to progressives, and then they changed their name to woke, and now they claim they don't want to be called woke anymore. Because socialists always try to disown the things they've done because it's manifestly disastrous, and that is what Singh is trying to do, while simultaneously keeping Trudeau's government going. He voted just a couple of weeks ago against a non-confidence motion that I put forward, which contains Singh's own criticisms of Trudeau in Singh's own words. So he voted against his own words to keep
Trudeau in office. It's exactly what he did. And I'm going to show you the clip that Pierre was just talking about. Is about a month ago, Pierre Poilievre, he put forward a vote of non-confidence in our House, and he used Jagmeet Singh's own words to get them to vote non-confidence, and they still didn't vote out the Liberals. So that tells you a lot about Jagmeet Singh. Anyone that's thinking out west about voting for NDP or anything like that, I would think twice, because their leader does not stick to his guns and sticks to what he says he's going to do. So it tells you a lot about his character as a person.
In a spirit of non-partisanship, to put our differences aside and take a good idea and a good perspective, no matter where it comes from. Too often in this place, we refuse to accept ideas or input from other people. And so I thought I would remedy that by taking the words and the message of the leader of the NDP, putting them in a conservative motion so that all of us could vote for the very wise things that he said. So allow me, in the spirit of this nonpartisan spirit, to read off the motion that we have here. Common sense conservative motion, whereas the leader of the NDP said he has ripped up his supply and confidence agreement with the Liberal government, whereas the NDP leader said the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people, whereas the NDP leader said the Liberal government will always cave to corporate greed and always step in to make sure the unions have no power. And he said that in response to the Liberal Labour Minister's referral to the Canadian Industrial Relations Board that ordered the workers of Teamsters Canada Rail Conference and the ILWU 514 to resume their duties, violating their right to strike. Therefore, the House agrees with the NDP leader, and the House proclaims it has lost confidence in the Prime Minister and the government.
And right after that, they had a vote of non-confidence, and Jagmeet Singh, like I said, did not vote out the Liberals. So, tells you a lot about Jagmeet Singh. All right, so the last one I am going to show you is
we don't need anything.
Trump the other day he talked and answered questions for a long time. And this is what he had to say about Canada.
So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
So, in a nutshell, basically what Trudeau is saying here, or what Trump is saying here about Trudeau and Canada in general, is they're at a $200 billion deficit with Canada. So, from a business standpoint, like the guy or hate the guy, I'm just throwing this out here. That way it gives you an understanding of what he's talking about. That they're in the hole basically every year, $200 billion. $200 billion every year with Canada. Even though we trade like $1.2 trillion back and forth across the borders, U.S. is still in the hole because it's not good business to be putting out $200 billion every year just because why? Because he said it out of habit. But why should Canadians be giving out billions of dollars to the Ukraine via the Liberals and Trudeau saying, oh, we'll do whatever it takes, at what cost? At the cost of Canadian taxpayers? And you might say, oh, well, that's hyperbole, is what I'm saying here. But if you ever go and do yourself a favor and check out the debt clock in Canada, for Canada, here it is right here. It's Canadian taxpayer debt clock. Look at this thing fly. Look at this thing fly by. This is insane, right? Look at the numbers. Your share is $29,743 per person. Our growth of debt per day is $109 million. Per hour is $4 million. It's insane, but they keep spending. This is the problem. This is a huge problem here in Canada. These Liberals have had a chance to make things better for Canadians. And instead, they chose to spend, spend, spend. When you print money, you create inflation. Just like anyone that knows anything about economics, you have too many dollars chasing too fewer goods creates inflation. It's just that simple. I am ecstatic that Trudeau is done in this country. What I'm not happy with is that he's holding our house, the people's house, for ransom, because none of our MPs can do the things that they should be able to do. They can't pass stuff, they can't push stuff, they can't move things forward. Us as Canadians, we can't elect who we want to elect because there's no election. Everything is frozen because of prorogation. People always say, what can I do? What can I do? Write your MP. Do it now. Send an email to your MP in your area across Canada, wherever province you're in. Write them. Tell them that you're not happy, that you're not happy with this prorogation. You're not happy with not getting things done because nothing's getting done in our house. Nothing's getting done in this country because of prorogation. Think of that. It's like your business is closed for business. You can't sell anything. You can't buy anything. Same principle. Not making any money. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's today's podcast. It was about Trudeau resigning, and I was so excited to see it happen. Anyway, folks, that's it for today's podcast. Short and sweet, 25 minutes long. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you have watched my podcast, and if you haven't, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Much, much appreciated. I always like to end my podcast. If you've seen any of my podcasts, at the end, I always like to throw this out there. On a serious note, that each and every person is going through something in this life. No one said life was going to be easy. It's tough. It is really tough. But there's one thing that you need to do. I've done it my whole life. I know people in my circles who have done the same thing. It's very important. You got to keep moving forward. Don't look back. There's nothing for you there. Yesterday is history, and tomorrow is a mystery. Today is the present. That's why they call it a gift. Keep moving forward. Thank you, everyone, for watching today's podcast. Yeah, like I said, it's much appreciated. And until next podcast, everyone, cheers.